Hello to everybody. Hello. I'm just going to check that I'm live whilst I wait for people to join. Hello to you all. Okay, so welcome everybody. A little bit nervous coming on doing this live because I haven't done a video live I think since June, which is quite a long time away from this sort of media. So please bear with me, please bear with my shyness and a little bit of nervousness as well. For those of you joining, what I'll be hopefully supporting you with and helping you with today is all about transcendence. It's all about the timeline we are absolutely in, but it is about states of consciousness rather than anything that is happening or arising outside of us in the appearance. So this may be for you, this may resonate for you, that it is about consciousness, your consciousness rising, but it may not resonate for you if your focus is more on the outside world. Okay, so just give people a few more minutes and then I shall talk. There's also just in the comments section of that little announcement that there would be a Facebook Live, there's an image in there, a little drawing, and that's what I'm going to be speaking to you about today. I will explain a lot about that. So just while we're waiting for a few more people, if you want to look at your Facebook and look at the drawing, I will show you it, but just familiarize yourself with that just for a few more seconds. Oh, the silence. Okay, so I'm just going to run you around this image, which I'll just show you here, just for you to take in. And so what you're seeing in this image is, you know, the sea of consciousness is everywhere. It's everywhere. It's outside of this book. It's outside of this. It's outside of me. It's everywhere and it's within everything. But what I've tried to draw is what humanity is moving into. And so within this image, which is an analogy, but it is also based on what I've actually been shown as visual anyway, is you'll see that there's this sea of humanity, a sea of humanity, and you'll see that there's different waves. Do you see the waves? And people on different waves. And then we've got the beach here, and you'll see that I've just called that love, peace and harmony. Now, a lot of people would call that 5D, okay? But I was never taught within me, I was never taught the numbers of dimensions. I was always shown light layers. In intricate design, I've been shown the light layers, and the light layers consist of frequency, light, vibrational patterns, and they're so intricate. No human being could ever draw even one light layer, and they're vibrational. So the beach is what some people would call 5D, but it's actually a state of consciousness. And the baseline, in order to get to the beach as your state, the baseline that you exist as consistently all the time would be love, peace, and harmony from within you. Because if you have those qualities embodied within you, that's how you experience everything and everyone. I'm going to go into it in detail, but then you can see that also along the beach here, sorry, it's all back to front for me, but also just look at this little lady or man, yeah, and then you've got an ascent up from 5D there, and I hope I remember to go through these stages. Okay, can you see that there's little black markers, almost like rungs on a ladder, and there's an ascent from 5D up to just an analogy, just a little symbol of what people could call enlightenment, the Christed state of consciousness, God consciousness, God seeing. You know, every culture has its own name for it, okay? So the reason I've come on today and I've drawn this out today is because there is so much information out there within the spiritual arena. There's so many different perspectives, which are totally, completely all understandable, but it can be confusing for people with such a vast array of information. And that's why I've drawn this. I hope it will help as I explain it to you, because it will help you understand not just yourself, but it will help you understand every single being or character outside of you, regardless if they are on an awakening journey. And you know, we use the word awakening, but all that simply means is something happens along your route and you realize that it's not what it seems. This physical reality is not what it seems, and so we call that an awakening. And it can happen in so many different ways for every single one of us. I do apologize. I am going to go off tangent because I can't focus very well on thinking in a linear way anymore, and I don't think I ever will. And that's one of the reasons I haven't done a live, is because my brain just goes boom, boom, boom. It's like a computer now. And I think for people, if I be from that state, it could even be quite confusing for people, even though it's not for me. It's not confusing for me. It's just that I think of so many things all at once, and I see everything all at once now. So it's one of the reasons I haven't done lives, because I always want to articulate and explain things simply and clearly, without me being, coming across in a confusing way. Okay, so there's a lot of information out there. You'll notice that people focus on lots and lots of different things. Now, this wave analogy, all these different waves where people are on lots of different ways, I've explained this to a couple of friends a few times this year, and they really understood it, and they could make sense then of all the information you see regarding timelines and what people call ascension. To me, what ascension is the rise of our frequency into a higher state of consciousness. The consciousness we actually truly are all the time anyway, outside of this physical body and this illusion. Okay, so that's why I'm going to describe these waves, so that you can make sense of yourself, not just now, but before, and also, you know, in a year's time, 6 months' time, especially. Okay. So if we take one wave, let's take this one here, the one that's approximately in the middle, okay? These are all consciousness states, okay? But the people, these are like steps, they're like stepping stones to get you to here, to the beach, to the love, peace and harmony within you. It's a state of consciousness. It's not a place, it's a state of consciousness. So if we take the people, say, that are here in this wave, they can't see the wave in front of them. And the people in this wave can't see the wave in front of them. And when these people land in a state of consciousness of love, peace and harmony as a consistent daily state, when these people land in this state that people call 5D, they realize there's people already there. Okay, I was shown this years ago. You know, I was shown in, I don't know, 2018 or so. I was shown it a number of times, the landing into 5D. And I came out of the water and I could see there were already people there. Okay? But the difficulty in social media, etc., is that there's every stage that we go through ourselves internally, we are always in a degree of blindness within us until we reach the state of enlightenment, until we are one with God as a consciousness state, not as a belief, not as an idea, not as an aspiration or desire. It truly is a consciousness state. Every stage before that, there's a degree of blindness. And so people here, say in this wave here, they are blind to the ones that are in this wave, and they are blind to the ones that are in this wave, and they are blind to the ones that have already landed in 5D, and even here they are blind to the beings that had already reached 5D between, say, now and 2 years ago. 2 years ago. And these beings in body, retaining the body, are on their trajectory towards their state of enlightenment. And that's what's really, really confusing for people when they read this, that, and the other, rather than just focus inwardly on their own path, is a person can say they're in this wave here. They can say, let's put it this wave here. They can say humanity, the collective, has now reached a state where their light body is being embodied, and it is true for them. That's the point. but it's that they are in a stage where the light body is being embodied. It's not the collective. And I know that because I started embodying my light body in 2013. That's when I could physically see it outside of me. And believe me, it takes time. It's a whole journey embodying the light body until you become light body itself. And when you become the state of your light body, you're not even aware of your humanness or your physical body. It's like your human just gets suspended. It's not even there. And all your being is actually light body. But this is the difficulty within these different waves of consciousness, is that it can be thought that we've reached a particular collective stage. And what's really happening is that person has reached that stage. Does that make sense? But they're saying it's a collective timeline. You know, and I'm sharing this openly because many times this year, you know, I can see people saying we've now reached this collective stage. We're now starting to embody the soul. Well, no, people have started to embody the soul, well, at least 5 years ago that I'm aware of, but there'll be people before that as well. There's this confusion about 5D, where people say we haven't reached 5D, and other people say we have reached 5D. And again, it's not about all landing in any state of consciousness all at the same time. It's an individual journey, but we're doing it as a whole. So we're doing this collectively as, you know, the age of Aquarius, the golden era, whatever you want to call it. We're doing it collectively as humanity, but the individual risings are unique. You have your own design. You have your own timing that you created from your consciousness prior to this incarnation. And if anybody, you know, because I appreciate people are new to, you know, the wall on Facebook and YouTube, but I think the very first video I did in 2017 was explaining the point prior to arrival in this human body. So the part where we have a choice of whether to come to Earth, we get given this crystalline program. It's got all our story in it. It's got the part where we're going to awaken, all the people we're going to meet. Everything is timed. It's all pre-designed. It's just that we're playing the game of meeting that design that's within us. And I know I'm going off tangent here, and I do apologize, but you know, that video goes into the detail of it, and that's in 2017, the very first video. It will be on here, but it's also on YouTube as well. So the difficulty is, if you're in this wave here, or if people say are in this wave here, and somebody says, well, we're already in 5D, these people will go, well, no, we're not. No, we're not. You can only perceive by the consciousness state we are each in. I remember a year or so ago explaining to someone that, you know, that this was already here. Yeah, as a state of consciousness, 5D. And I remember the person didn't believe me at the time. It's because every stage we go through, and I include myself in this, you know, because everything just is. The higher truth is the higher truth, you know, but at every stage of our embodiment journey, we are each in a degree of blindness. So we can only see a little bit ahead. it's a little bit like having a torchlight, a flashlight, and you point that flashlight out in front of you, and you can only really see maybe 10 meters ahead. But when you walk to that 10-meter spot ahead, you can then see the next 10 meters ahead of you. Does that make sense? And that's what embodiment or ascension is like. It's unique for everybody. So when people say we've reached this collective timeline where blah, 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 it can be true. It can be. But there are many, many instances where what that person is saying is a collective timeline isn't. It's actually their time. It's their time. But they're thinking it's a collective timeline. And then that information goes out, and then a lot of people will think, oh, we're here now. And then they'll get disappointed because they don't feel here now. Well, why? Because it's an individual journey. Do you see? And, you know, I'll put this down for a minute because it's starting to ache my hand. It is an individual journey, and it's why, you know, forever really, I've been banging on and banging on and banging on to you all that to trust your own inner journey, because your consciousness, it's for you to attune to your consciousness. It's like flexing a muscle you can't see. And the more you flex a muscle that you can't see, the stronger you become. The more you can rely on that muscle as opposed to, you know, something else outside of you. When I first awoke, I didn't think I had any intuition. I didn't know a sausage, you know, I didn't know anything. But I've always relied on the inside, always, for the whole of this path. And the more you rely on your own inner journey, your own style, your own unique design, the more it's like a hidden strength. It's not an ego strength. It's just a knowing within, and you trust it, and you have faith in it, even when you're not in any knowing of the next step. You just accrue this faith in your own steps, your own journey, because it's just a story. That's all it is. I mean, God, I'm really going off tangent here, but it's just a story. We all have our own story, and we chose that story before we came in. So we chose what to experience in what I call Soul Journey 1, which is just a human experience, and our soul will have decided, right, I want this character to experience this. I want my soul to experience this and accrue this experience this lifetime. That's Soul Journey 1. It's in forgetfulness. It's in amnesia. But then when Soul Journey 2 comes, Soul Journey 2 is your mastery. You complete Soul Journey 1. That's done. And then you begin to birth very gently, very fragilely, your mastery. And that is when you're here. You're here. So I will go into this, okay? But I'm just conscious of talking too much and spending too much time. I know some people complain if the videos are too long. So reaching that state of consciousness of love, peace, and harmony, what you'll find is that you reach that state. So you come in through your own waves at your right timing, and you reach that state, and then something happens, because this is a multi-dimensional experience, but something will happen and you go back into the water. You dip down. And then whatever it is, you work with that within you, what has happened. It's all about you. It's never about the outside. It's all about you and your own reaction, your own emotions, your own feelings, which are just, it's just all programming. It's not who any of us is, okay? We're consciousness. But you dip back into the water, and then you sort yourself out, you get up, and then you raise in frequency, and then you go back into 5D. And then this can happen so many times, where you dip in and you dip out, you dip in and you dip out. But all that dipping in and dipping out, it happens at all of these wave points anyway. You know, we go up in a higher state of consciousness, we receive revelation, we experience differently as consciousness itself. And then what we find, and I know a lot of you can relate to this, is what we find is then we can then have a conversation with someone about something entirely different, and we watch our energy just go down and down and down and down and down. All that is that we were at a particular state of frequency, and then we gave our mental mind focus to the outside, whether it's world scenes, whether it's a group, whether it's a person, whether it's your family. We enter the brain again into the human character mode, and we fall back down. So there are always this fluctuation, this movement of going up into feeling like we've taken another step on the ladder, and then we fall back down. And the only way to rise up, if you really truly want to embody, the only way to rise up is by looking at self. By looking at self. We can have the illusion of rising up through the ego by feeling better at blaming something on the outside, but that's just illusion. It's a false illusion. It doesn't get you anywhere in terms of ascension, in terms of embodiment. Okay, so let's just focus now just on this, the love, peace, and harmony. Some of you will have seen the drawing I did the other day, which I posted. I'll show you. Which is that, yeah. So people in the world will reach a consciousness state of love, peace, and harmony. And they'll be the people, and then this is becoming such a fervent, energetic movement now. They'll be the people that reach the junction, which has happened in the last couple of days, and they'll go round the roundabout and they'll take this exit here, okay, which is that state of love, peace, and harmony, a beautiful state. And when you reach that state, as I say, expect to just fall back a little bit, and then you collect yourself, you look within, because there's something else to see within you. The elephant in the room is always within you. It's not within any other person outside of you. They are just characters that your consciousness has brought into your storybook, into your own reality, to help you come out of the program. Okay. So many masses and masses of people in the world will reach this state, but they reach it in their own time. We've got this surge. It's just a very powerful energetic now that's going to really help people get to here. And once that state is sustained within you, these are the people in the world they're going to do all sorts of good, you know, inventions, or where are those inventions coming from? The new inventions from a higher state of consciousness, they'll draw them in to this world from a higher state of consciousness. The inventions could be via other aspects of themselves, via other species of themselves, but it will come through them. You know, so much nurturing will occur between people within the world to help people. There will be the communities, blah blah blah. But that state of consciousness is here, okay? Now I want to talk about here. I'm not going to go into every detail because it's too much. But to understand that every single soul, every single person that appears outside of you has a soul. And their soul has chosen to have a particular experience this lifetime. And this is where I pray you can take a moment just to feel. Some souls have chosen pre-incarnation to be the ones that trigger you, to be the ones that seemingly do things that people could call bad or not good, etc. At a soul level, whether this is outside of you in the world's, you know, world stage, or whether it is within your family, whether it is within people that are awakened that you connect to and then lose connection with, yeah? At soul level, everyone has agreed to play their part. And if you just remove the character, the personality for a moment, and just feel a soul, you'll know that every single soul is connected to source, connected to divine love, is divine love. I was shown and had the experience of my actual soul, which is just made of light, by the way, compacted light, but and stores memory in photon light form, but it's very compacted light. And I got to physically feel how the soul feels. And it's just the kindest love you could ever wish anyone to experience. Every soul has that love. And some of those souls agreed from love, from divine love, to play certain parts to help you, and you awaken more and awaken more and awaken more. And I feel that is what gets forgotten in these waves. Because you can have, and you know, I hope it's okay to say this because, you know, it is obvious and it might be something that we don't necessarily say out loud, but it might be that you've got this wave here of a lot of people that are awakened, but they're casting judgment on the people that aren't awakened. And all that is, in truth, is for the one in judgment that is awakened to stop. And instead of pointing the finger outwards, turn it back and realize, okay, oh, I've just judged these people, I've just judged this person, I've just judged this awakened person. Because what you find in the awakened community, which is why I removed myself from it years ago, is there's so much finger pointing, there's so much judgment. And it's because there's degrees of blindness. And so, there's the judgment of the people that are less awakened than themselves. And then there's the judgment of the people that are in a different state of consciousness, are in a different stage of their path, but they can't see that consciousness state. They can only see a character in front of them. They can't tune in to the consciousness state of these people here because they're not there. And so there's judgment. A lot of people, masses, and it needs masses. It needs to be masses for such a change to evolve over years and years and years. But a lot of people have chosen to experience here and build and build and build in so many different ways for the whole of humanity as a collective. And when you reach this state of consciousness that is love, peace and harmony within you all the time, it never stops. Imagine all the other people there that are in a state of consciousness of love, of peace, of harmony within themselves that never stops. So what you have is the diversity of individualism, but because harmony is within you, you easily accept a different opinion outside of you from any of these people here, and they easily accept your opinion even though it's different to theirs. And you easily accept all the opinions of people that haven't reached it. All the opinions, all the opinions. And just going back to these waves right at the top here, that's, that people can judge so harshly at an awakened state. They can judge the people here. It's like I said many years ago. I'll just put a light on. It's like I said many years ago. Many souls chose to wait. I've been shown this at least 3 times now, where people chose to not go through that 4D awakening experience, but literally choose to go from here, what people would call an unawakened state, straight to here, straight to here. And yet these people, at a soul level, these are souls that chose, I don't want to have all of this experience. I just want to have such a shock, such a wonderful shock of the light. I just want to go from here to here. Do you see? Beyond all human perceptions is beauty. And that beauty is love. That beauty is soul. It's the beauty of God. I know that a lot of people want everything to happen fast, for everything to change quickly, for it to be now. But that would negate the story. It's an experience that is unfolding and unfolding and unfolding, and beyond your story and beyond my story and beyond everybody's story outside is the one story. It's God's story. And that's why it's taking years upon years upon years upon years, because it's God's dreaming that is unfolding. God's dreaming. And there's resistance to that. Human will versus, the divine will. It's this, the beauty in surrender is just worth everything. everything, because you're filled. So let's just talk about that, and then I'll leave it be. There has been people, albeit they won't have, necessarily been the ones that say, I'm in 5D now, I'm in love, peace and harmony now. They won't necessarily be loudly spoken, because they'll be less in their ego. But there are people in the world that have already reached that state, but they're not at soul level designed to stay there. Okay? So they reached that state, they experienced that state of love, peace, and harmony that people call 5D, but they know, because the information's within them, they receive it in whatever way they do, they know that this lifetime, their soul wishes for them to go higher and higher and higher in frequency and in consciousness to the state of God realization, the Christed state of consciousness. Now, in that stage, there are stages, and that's why I've done the little markers. There's the stage of embodying eternal peace. That's the first stage there. And it's not human peace. It's the divine's peace. You know that because it literally feels eternal. It is eternal peace. It's completely different to the idea of human peacefulness. The next stage is the eternal bliss. And again, you just remember, you can come in and out of it, in and out of it, in and out, until you sustain it. So you can drop out of it, but then you know it, because you can attune to it, you become it. So it's just like flicking a switch or dialing a radio station into a radio station, and you can just become the bliss instantly again, because you've attained it. It's been given, you've embodied it. So you can attune to it instantly if you drop out of it. But eventually it becomes you, and it becomes you, and it becomes you, until it is your continuous state. So there's the state of the eternal bliss. There's the embodiment of the greater love. The greater love is just a word I use to describe the eternal love of God, God's love. Some of you will know, if you read my posts, I always talk about the octaves of love. There's different octaves of love, different degrees of love. But all love is God's love. Doesn't belong to any human, except in the illusion of having that experience that it is your love. But the greater love, God's love, is like nothing you can ever describe in words. You experience it in the silence. Beyond the greater love, God's love, embodying God's love, is the stage of divine union with God. And that stage will be different for everyone. You all have your own unique styles, presentations of how that arises, and you know that it's occurring to you. But there's no doubt, you are guided, you are told, you are shown. There's no doubt about it, but it's not a quick stage. The union with God isn't a quick stage. It requires devotion. And you'll know when you're there, because you've embodied so much consciousness that you get the details, you get the information, however that is for you. But it takes time and it takes devotion. And this is why, you'll see people in the world that are knowing to be in the stillness, knowing to be in the silence. Because the divine union with God is only about the character, you, and God. That's it. And even in that divine union, which is in silence, it's in silence, it's beyond and before all sound. It's beyond and before all images. Because if you think about it, images, sound, vibration, they were all created out from God, outwardly. They were God's creations out. So if you are going to experience the Christed state, enlightenment, God consciousness, whatever you prefer to call it, I don't mind. But if you're going to get into that state this lifetime, it's to go before all of creation in the union with God. And that state starts with you feeling separate still to God. A state within you that you do still feel separate, like it's you and God. But it's in that silence before all images, before all sound, before any creation whatsoever, you find your way. And there's no personality there. There's no character functioning there of you. The union with God is literally you realizing God. So there is no character in that state. The character gets created outside of that state. So there's the union with God, and then there's one more stage after that, but I haven't got a clue what it is. I don't know. I just know there's one more stage whilst in the union with God, before you reach that Christed state, or that state of God knowing, state of God realization. It really doesn't matter all these labels that we use. We just do our best, don't we? And everywhere in the world, there's different cultures, different words, different meanings. Not different meanings, but different words for things that actually do mean the same thing. So what I'd like to really just end with, just so that you can understand something profound, actually, at least I think is profound, is that whilst there is this surge that is occurring of more and more people will be embodying the state of love, peace and harmony, which relates to that roundabout yesterday, or 2 days ago, the image of the roundabout, where the right-hand turn is a surge of people that will be going into that, what people call 5D. But at the same time that this happens, so this is happening. So other people have already got here, have already been going through these stages, and they're progressing up to the state of God awareness. So it's a parallel. It's a parallel that's happening, and it's actually been a parallel that's been happening for a long time, at least a few years. It is in the design, in God's greater design, that people land here as people land here. And that's why there's a diversity in the information that you see or the information that you have, because some people at soul level have it designed within them that they reach here. So they'll be focusing on many different diverse subjects, very individual, and that's needed. But you'll also have people that are focused here, and these will be the people that generally always point you to God, generally speaking. The ones that always refer back to Source, God, the Absolute, Abba, Allah, Father, whatever you wish to call God, it doesn't really matter. God doesn't mind. Everybody is literally, it's pre-designed, it always has been. And what we're all doing is meeting that design within us. But it's a parallel that's occurring. That's the part that I really wanted to emphasize, is that, you know, as this increases more and more, you know, thank goodness, yeah, as this increases, this is happening at the same time to other people. And that's why you get the diversity within, you know, social media, the spiritual arena, what people focus on, the subjects that they focus on. Some people will be pointing you to God. It's as simple as that. And some people won't. It's as simple as that. And at soul level, it's because of their design. So, you know, everything just is, you know. The other thing that I want to just lastly share is that those that are here to embody that Christed state, there'll come a time when they pass, when they transition. And when they transition, other people that were in that love, peace and harmony will take their places, so to speak. You see, we've got a few years to go, at least, you know. I don't know everything at all, you know, but I do have a knowing of sort of like the next 2 or 3 years. And so just because, say, somebody, sorry, I've lost the picture now, just because people experience here, yeah, doesn't mean they're going to stay there. Some of these people that will spend quite a long time here, quite a number of years here, will still go here. And then they will be the ones that point people towards the remembrance of God that is within you and you and you and within everything and everyone within this vast experience of forgetfulness. So it is fluid. It's not to ever put anyone in boxes. I know I say this quite a bit, but, you know, don't put anybody in a box. Don't put your family members in a box, or people in the world in a box, because you don't know what they've chosen at soul level. And don't put yourself in a box, because you have your own timing. And everything is possible. And the last thing I'll say before I go is, and this is also why I've come on today, and please excuse the state of me, but I've been chopping logs outside and I haven't changed, but this was a huge reason to come on today. Was I was thinking about, you know, everyone, and the thing is, when you're in this part, It's a state of consciousness that is evolving and evolving and evolving and evolving, okay? It's expanding. You're expanding into consciousness itself. But as you're here, you can see everyone. You can see everyone at every stage within an instant. You don't even have to think about it, because you're embodying more consciousness. You're becoming more sentient, more energetic. So you can understand every single person's perspective, but you understand it with peace within you, from love within you, from this compassion that is just vast within you. But that's because you've come here. You've arrived here, but you've kept going. But you can see all the different states of consciousness everywhere, instantly, within everyone. And why? Because you've come through all of those stages. So the part I want to leave you with is that, old story about the tortoise and the hare, which is a really big reason why I came on today. There's no race. If you think about the hare, always wanting to race, wanting to be the first, perhaps the loudest, perhaps the one that talks the most, racing, not stopping, going from here to here to here to here, got to win the race. And you think about the tortoise. It's about being the tortoise. It's about stepping back. Stepping back from the noise. Stepping back from whatever is outside of you. Slowing down. Because when you slow down, when you slow the mind down, when you slow down physical activity and mental busyness, your state of consciousness elevates. And you can practice this. It was a video I did maybe 3-4 years ago. But if you just slow down by taking the breath, the sacred breath into your heart, and slow yourself down, and stay in that slower mental activity, you come out of that mental activity. Your consciousness that you experience it feels like it rises. And so instead of seeing the tree outside of you, you start to see the tree as liquid light. And if you stay slow, less mental activity, just stay with that, you start to see this tree as almost like effervescent golden light. And if you stay with that, as your consciousness rises, you start to see no tree, but just white light. And the white light is the light of God prior to all creations, prior to the creation of the tree. And in that state, there's no you. So it is to slow down and be the tortoise. There's no rush, there's no race. If you felt that there was a rush or a race, then the only truth in that is that that's your character thinking there is. If you just let go of that character that thinks, oh, I'm behind, oh, I'm not where I should be. Why don't I know this? Why don't I know that? It's just the character thinking that. And you're not the character. Your consciousness having an experience of a character until you realize that it is a character. And when you truly finally realize it's a character, that's when you'll reach that state of God consciousness, where you observe as God's consciousness the character. So there's no rush. There's nothing to rush for. That would just be the mental mind, the character thinking it's behind, it's not doing well enough. And all that is just a program from when we were children, where we were taught at school that, you know, we had to learn this and we had to learn that. And then we were given exams, and then we didn't do too well on the exams maybe. And we saw everybody else perhaps doing really well on exams. And then we felt less than, and we felt not good enough and hopeless. And, you know, all of these ideas and these beliefs would then get ingrained just as a child because of the system that we agree to experience in. There's no rush. Ultimately speaking, it would be you rushing against yourself. So don't feel that during this momentum, you know, that you've got to try harder and you've got to do this and you've got to do that. It's actually the opposite. If you stop trying, you'll end up just being. And in that state of being, you'll feel the love, you'll feel the harmony within you, and you'll feel the peace. There's no rush and there's no race, and there never has been. Okay, I shall leave it there. Thank you for tuning in, and I hope that explains, you know, the different perspectives that everybody comes from, and to be aware that it can get confusing if people say this is a collective timeline we're now on. It may well be just their timeline, but they think it's a collective timeline. Always, you have your way within you. It's like a book, and you're walking through the pages of your own book. But it's your book, so trust it. Trust it, and just read it gently, just a page at a time, because that's how it works. It's just one page at a time that you turn over. And that's what's happening at the macro level of God's design. It is the pages of God's design are turning. And, you know, it will be a little while off. I'm not sure how many years. It might be 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. I don't know yet. But there'll come a point where the people here that reach this state, all over the world, by the way, beautifully placed all over the world, will bring in and birth God's dreaming. And of course, God's dreaming is for all. It's for all. It's for everyone. You know, these people here that reach this state of consciousness, they're here to help everybody that resonates. Not just a few, not just awakened people, not just even people. They'll be helping animals through their abilities. There won't be anybody that they turn away, because God is all. So they'll help the ones that they know to help, the ones that resonate to them, and they won't be planned moments when this happens. It will just happen in unplanned moments throughout the world. Okay, sending you love, and I hope some of that helps. Hope so. God bless. Bye for now. Bye-bye.